Critical Blast, where pop culture gets blasted.
Welcome to Cosmic Comics, Games and Collectibles, your zen of geekism. We carry comics old and new, magazines, toys, games like Pokemon, Magic, D&D. Want Godzilla, Ultraman, Star Trek, Ninja Turtles, Funko Pops? You'll find it all here. Shop our Cosmic Sound Room and pick up a record or two. Enjoy our Comic Coffee Lounge with a cup of Sasquatch coffee or a delicious menu item while geeking out over a super cool movie on our big screen. Come by and say hello to Maui. Cosmic Comic, Games and Collectibles. Superman loves us, and so will you.
And good evening, everybody. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com. And tonight we are looking at, guess what? Another crowdfunded comic. We are swapping over to Kickstarter as our stomping grounds for tonight as we take a look at the MacKinnon Chronicles, a space opera book done by Matt Trinh. And Matt's joining us tonight. How are you tonight, Matt?
I am good. How about you?
I've had a pretty good day. But you know, the night's, as they say, the night's still young, so we'll see. So is this your first comic book that you've done? I can't tell by looking at the Kickstarter here.
It's actually the second one. The first one was Mythics under the Mythoverse banner.
Okay, I know that name. I've seen Mythoverse thrown around a lot on Twitter among the comics Twitter.
Yeah, there's three of us in the Mythoverse, and we had a successful Kickstarter back in May 2019, followed up with a failed Kickstarter for Mythics #2 that I wrote, and about a year later, but that was during the time of the whole coronavirus outbreak.
Yeah.
How it was reaching United States and all lockdown. So when we got back up and launched it a second time, the campaign got funded.
Now you mentioned Kickstarter in all three of those instances. Have you tried Indiegogo, or do you prefer not to use Indiegogo?
Mythics #2 and MacKinnon Chronicles are the two campaigns that I ran. I ran Mythics #2 back in the summer of 2020, and that did pretty well. Raised $1,000, and MacKinnon Chronicles not so well right now, but it'll get funded. I think of Kickstarter and Indiegogo as being like Xbox and PlayStation. There's always going to be people who are okay with either one, but there are the diehards who want to be on this platform.
Yeah, I hear you there. And then there are people, who go to both of them. But you're going to do more than get funded. You've already been funded. You have hit $300 over goal so far.
Yeah. On Kickstarter, I got over. Indiegogo currently is at $134.
So you're running simultaneously.
Yep. Which is pretty crazy.
I've not known anybody to do that before.
Well, Tonic Mold from Saving the World has done it, but to varying degrees of success.
Okay, yeah, I know Tonic, so.
But there are people who I think will actually trust someone if they've actually fulfilled their campaign.
Oh yeah,
due to them.
Yeah, I've got the numbers I save in a spreadsheet of people who have done 2 or more of the same title in a sequential book, crowdfunded and delivered, and you can see the ones that deliver past #2, it just keeps creeping up the number of backers they get. there's a small handful that go down, but they go down quickly, like from the very beginning, because they, either they didn't fulfill, or they fulfilled late, or they, what did they do? They disenfranchised their audience. Is I guess the most polite way to say that.
Yeah, and I saw one creator end up refunding his backers, even though he got well over the amount he set the goal for. He just did not have enough money to get the campaign done.
Oh, so he set the goal too low.
Yep.
So that, I have to ask now. You've got $1,000 on this. That's a low goal. Is that gonna be enough?
Yeah, I've got a lot of the work done. I've done all the math on it, and whatever the amount goes over, I can easily cover.
Okay, so you're writer and artist on all of this then.
Well, I'm not the artist. Travis Martinez is the artist for MacKinnon Chronicles.
Okay. So this is a new launch, no pun intended, since there's spaceships involved, and it is going to be obviously a sort of a Star Trek space opera setting. What sets this apart from things like Battlestar Galactica and Babylon 5 and such?
Well, a lot of it has been inspired by shows like Babylon 5, but what makes it different is that it's not set on a space station. It's set a few thousand years in the future. So by that point, humans have the ability to create artificial gravity, and we've pretty much colonized in all the inhabitable systems of the galaxy. There's no alien races that you're aware of right now.
Okay, so we still think we're alone, and we've been everywhere.
Well, kind of. There's been some, among the reasons for the interstellar factions is that what keeps them together are the alien artifacts that were found across the galaxy. One of them being a Dyson sphere.
Okay.
So a lot of the reasons why human colonies stay within a faction is out of fear over whether or not the aliens will come back and if they're hostile.
Whether or not they own us. That's been a story plot several times. Oh yeah, our herds are doing well. We've come to cultivate now. Like what? No.
Yeah, well, in this case, it's scarily realistic, since you know that governments will do whatever they can to keep people under their power.
Yeah, and it's timely as well, because we've had the Pentagon just within the last year say, yeah, we've got vehicles that were not made on Earth, and maybe they're just caging their words. We built it on the space station and dropped it down. It wasn't technically built on Earth, but I don't think that's what they meant.
I certainly hope. Part of me hopes that it's not aliens, because what does that mean for us if our government is the only one that's in control in communications with them?
Well, yeah, that's a scary thing. Well, it means that they captured them. I've always figured, if alien races, we can't get to them and they can get to us, that means we have nothing they really need technologically wise. There's nothing for us to trade with. So the only people who would come to a backwater place like we would be compared to them would be the same kind of people who go to backwater countries that have nothing to offer us. They go there for humanitarian and missionary reasons. So, our first alien encounters might be them walking off with in robes, a cassock, and a big thick book, asking if we've accepted Xenu as our personal savior.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't fight back. They'd be captured and put in prison.
They're not going to be here for our water, that's for certain.
Exactly. Harrenberg is in the chat, and he's our wrench. He's saying, so there's faster than light and alien artifacts everywhere. Sounds like a Jack Chalker novel, and he says that's a great compliment. That's not saying you're ripping it off. That's Jack Chalker writes some good stuff.
Thank you.
So it's called the MacKinnon Chronicles because it's named after your main character here, Maisie MacKinnon. And so why did you why is she the focus? Where does she come up in your development of this story?
Funny thing is that she was once a supporting character for the original idea that I had. But then I realized, that name's too cool sounding to be a supporting character. And I'm sure there's going to be some interesting stories I can tell with the character. So I'm just going to promote her to main character.
All right. I'm looking at her uniform here. It's pointing to the shoulder and saying it's hardened CNT. Please tell me what CNT is, because my mind's not going to the right places, and I'm sure that's not what's being meant here.
Well, I gave my artist full control over how to design it. So my feeling is that it's more to be a cool science fiction type design rather than anything else.
No, I just don't know what the letter CNT mean.
I actually haven't asked him that.
Okay. You might wanna.
Yeah.
Maybe
I trust
that one out.
I trust them to have it not mean anything perverted.
I mean, you got a female character there. She's not looking too happy, and she's a hardened. Like, could be funny too, but
yeah.
It all depends on how you look at it. But
funny thing is that you're the first one. You're the first one to ask about it.
I read these things kind of close because I got this big old monitor here off to the side that I'm looking at everything on. So it's all right in my face. Plus, I got my glasses on so I can see. So here's CN fabric. So obviously, it's going to be something that builds out of that. I do like the fact that you can see the layers and everything. The thought that goes into making this. So you can see that the LED strips are what's sticking through here. It's lighting from inside the suit, apparently, and it's multi-layered latex, polycotton, and whatever the CN fabric is. Adjust accordingly for lighting and shadows. Yeah, okay, that's good art direction there. And it's $24.93 of the Solarian Era. So this is our solar system's era. If it's 1,000 years in the future, what's the Solarian Era? What are we counting from? Because what's year zero here?
Year zero would be 2923 AD.
Okay.
So we're about 4,000 years. Well, 3,000 years in our future because,
So I'm guessing that, on that 0 year, that's when something happened that we've reset everything. Probably the discovery of FTL. The Vulcans come down and say, we've seen, the first or whatever it is that initiates first contact, but gets us out there.
It's when they discover the Dyson sphere, and it was our confirmed confirmation of alien life in the galaxy.
We don't know where they are.
Yep. And so that also gave the government an idea to unify all of humanity under a single banner.
Oh yeah, because we have a mutual enemy now out there. We don't know who it is. We don't know if they're really an enemy, but it's the Ozymandias ploy, right? I mean,
exactly.
You give them an alien, and everybody unites. That may or may not last, depending on which version of Watchmen you decide to go with.
Well, basically, part of that fracture comes when a human colony known as New Terra decides that, hey, there's no alien threat. It's all false. Has anyone really seen the Dyson sphere? Even though there are people that are living on it. But they decide that they don't need the Solarian Alliance anymore, and they break away along with hundreds of other worlds. So they also decide to bulk up their military and make it basically a war of attrition.
Gotcha. So where does Maisie fit into all of this? Is she like government, or is she rebels?
She's with the Solarian Alliance, so basically main government of the galaxy. And she's a battle cruiser commander.
Oh, so she's in charge.
Yep.
So she's the Sailor Moon of the ship here.
Exactly.
Oh,
and
right.
Yep.
So I see a lot of people walking up and down hallways here. It's got a very militaristic kind of look to it. Yes, that is that's her great granddaughter here, and right down to the tattoos. Rags makes it around. I'm not quite sure why. I've got to read some of those books to see what is making Regina such a popular character, but everybody wants her in their book.
Well, in this case, it wasn't so much of I thought she was a cool character from a cool comic that I read. It was more along the lines of the creator Brian Ball encouraging me to start on this comic. And
okay, so it's a hat tip.
Yep, so when I asked him if it was okay for her to be in my comic, he gave me his blessings as well as a document of what the family is doing in the future.
Okay. So do you refer to her by name, or is she just sort of like a background tribute character there?
Yeah, she's going to be a supporting character. She's an Estrine, which is basically the futuristic version of Marine. And basically they're responsible for ship security as well as boarding actions.
Okay. See a lot of people walking around doing the military things. Why are they out there? What's the driving plot here that's going to happen to this team?
Basically, this is the moment where Maisie explains the mission, why they're there, and it leads into the action sequence where the Hyperion goes into combat with the Terran heavy cruiser for the first round.
Okay, so they're going to go into battle, I'm guessing, against the pullouts that are leaving the Alliance.
Yep. The Terran Federal Republic. Which...
Okay.
Go on.
No, I just said, okay, I got it.
Okay. Basically, the most recent view of how the whole thing works is basically the Expanse, where you have the UN and the Martians, kind of thing.
Okay, I got that. So it's going to be like, just a lot of space battles. There's going to be a major bad guy, or is there just sort of like the other, the whole group of them? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out what the goal is that has to be accomplished. What's the hero got to do for victory to be achieved here, other than blow their ship out of the sky?
Well, in this case, the Terran heavy cruiser is one that was reported by the Republic as a stolen heavy cruiser. So, because of that, they have the Terran cruiser is harassing Solarian trading routes.
Okay, so they're doing the pirate thing.
Yep, except that it's more of a third party that's trying to start another war between the Solarians and the Terrans.
Okay, so you got three factions now. You got the other two would probably just leave themselves alone, say, okay, we don't like you, we're just going to be on ourselves. But somebody's sitting there tweaking both sides and trying to get them to fight.
Well, both sides have that faction to them. Though the different colony worlds of humanity have sort of autonomous rule. similar to basically they're more like constitutional republics rather than a democratic system, like in a way of these United States rather than the United States.
Gotcha. As soon as I scroll past the comic pages here, we have an entirely different style of art here, because these are draftsman-like quality of these ships here. Designed by Killbox. I don't know Killbox.
Yep. Killbox is an artist on Twitter. He's one of the first artists to actually send me fan art for my comic. So when I found out that he could design ships, when he sent me fan art of one of the original ships, I looked at it and said, you know what, I'm going to hire you for this project. Yeah,
deservedly so. I mean, these ships look very cool, because I'm looking at these ships, and the first thing I'm thinking, Matt, is 3D prints.
Yep.
And there's several people who are doing that now, actual with the printer. George Peter Gatzis is probably the most heavily used one. He's who I send everybody to. So yeah, if you want to make prints of these ships, hit George up, TBDE Inc. on Twitter. So you had a lot of different classes here too of these ships. It's not all the same rocket all over the place.
Yeah, it's in a way it's gonna be really, really boring if there's no difference between the ships.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. Now here's the Dyson Sphere. So this was discovered, not built, from what you said earlier.
Well, in this case, it's an orbital settlement that was named after Freeman Dyson, rather than actual Dyson Sphere.
Okay.
The Dyson Sphere is in a far-off solar system where it covers the entire sun.
Yes. Well, it would have to, wouldn't it?
Yep. Oh, God.
And a Dyson Sphere, for anybody in the chat who doesn't know, and if I'm remembering it correctly, think Warlord, where he was in the hollow Earth and the sun was in the middle, and everybody just kind of walks along the outside of the Earth. But if you were to like look up with a telescope, you'd see your friend on the other side. I mean, that's pretty much how it works, right?
Yeah.
You're all living on the inside.
There are a lot of concepts that are really crazy that I've read up on, such as Larry Niven came up with the idea of constructing a mega Dyson Sphere, which is basically a galaxy-sized Dyson Sphere. Wow.
I know he did Ringworld, which was sort of like a strip of the Dyson Sphere. Yes, the world is flat, but it's still round. These all look cool.
Oh yeah, I really liked his. I really enjoy his work.
So, what science fiction writers do you pull from? That you've read before that would inform this writing.
Well, in terms of science fiction, I'd have to say Larry Niven would be one. There's also J. Michael Straczynski for Babylon 5. And unintentionally, David Weber.
David Weber, okay. Explain.
Well, when I was shopping the character around, I got a lot of people said that this sounds like Honor Harrington.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, I haven't really... Back when I developed this in 2012, I've never read a Honor Harrington novel before. It was more... Back then, my science fiction diet was more of known space and some other science fiction novels that I'm drawing a blank on at the moment.
Don't you hate when that happens?
Yes.
It's going to get worse the older you get, Matt.
Unfortunately.
So this is a farrier gate. Now, is this like the like a Stargate?
Yeah, basically it's the fashion and light travel system that's commonly used. It creates a wormhole to travel between star systems.
Okay. So they're folding space and flying their ship through the gate and coming out the other side. And
Yep. And it has another context that that comes with hard science fiction in that it takes so much energy to power such gates that if it explodes, it causes massive amount of damage.
I bet it would. So don't blow it up.
So they construct them as far away from habitable planets as possible.
Yeah, because you can get a supernova real quick there.
Yep.
All right, so here's where we get into the rewards. This is the cover for number one. The standard cover, so there's going to be more than one. And this is with by Travis Martinez. Kind of like the whole lighting thing that's going on there.
It's one of the reasons why I picked him out. It's because he's got a great art style and he's also has a way with lighting on it.
I also like that, 4,000 years in the future, we're going to be a hell of a lot more ambidextrous than we are. I mean, she's typing on this with one hand and she's pressing buttons over here with the other. She's not even looking at it. She's like, I know where they all are.
the benefits of genetic hacking.
Yes, absolutely. And here's the here's the male gaze cover, the microgravity pool variant.
Which you turn off the artificial gravity and you can have it swim in with no gravity involved.
and that's why all the water's rising up.
Yep.
So yes, she's in charge, but she's also a woman. Oh, wait a second. She's more woman than I can handle there now. Okay, so we have an NSFW version.
Yeah.
Is that reflective of anything that's going to be in the books?
Well, there's not going to be any nudity, but one thing about culture between people who live in space is that there's not going to be as much privacy involved.
True.
So they're not they don't care too much about modesty.
I mean, she had a great big open window there. Anybody could just fly by and look in. So why, But yeah, the close quarters and everything.
Or not because windows are a weakness for spaceships.
Yes. Yeah, spaceship. So why is there a window there? You get a view screen, not a window. Oh, now this is nice. Who's the artist on this one? This Killbox. Okay. Yep. Is he just doing fan art? Because he should be doing a lot more stuff now.
Oh, this isn't fan art. That's another alternate cover. I have another artist working on the colors, which we fell behind on that. So right now we got the black and white. But
black and white looks nice.
Oh yeah, Killbox. If there's anyone who I want to work with in the future on a comic, it's him.
Yeah, he's got a very I want to say like a draftsman-like style to it. Now I say that because the uniform and the machinery, it all looks like it functions. But at the same time, he's also got he's able to draw facial expressions and hair and anatomy. So that's two weapons in the toolbox. That's good to have for an artist. Dan Sagro's talking about the windows. They're transparent aluminum.
Yeah, that's right, Scotty. Scotty brought us the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Computer.
Yeah. So about the spacesuit, it's another reason why there's a comparison with Honor Harrington, because in MacKinnon Chronicles, when you go into battle, you wear a spacesuit.
Of course.
Much like how in the Navy, you wear a life preserver.
Yeah, you would have to, because you got to be prepared in case things go sideways. Harrenberg's asking you to tell us a little bit more about who Killbox is, because literally before this campaign, I've not heard of him. And you said you ran into him because he turned in fan art. Has he done any comics work before?
No, in fact, he's working on getting his art style good enough to be used in his comic pages.
Okay, so let me just throw this out to the chat here. First work will be in this. So if you're somebody who's like, I want to have the first time that Jim Lee drew something, I want to have the first book that Todd McFarlane drew something, first book that Killbox drew, it will be, MacKinnon Chronicles. So, and he didn't even draw it. He's just got some stuff in it. So
yeah, he designed the ships. Every ship in there, he designed.
Yeah, and he'll have this cover. So if you get this cover, you'll have a could be a collector's item depending on how popular Killbox gets here.
I mean, if I get up to maybe $5,000, that creator's guide will have a full set of spaceship designed by him.
There you go. Now, are you going to have are those designs going to be printed in the book anywhere, like in the back as a supplemental, or are you going to be doing a separate book? And maybe I should just go down the side here and see what we're selling. So you have a $5 digital tier. People in our chat like the digital for reasons all their own. George, Robert, digital tier right there, $5 for the MacKinnon Chronicles. And the physical is so let's see how you're building up on these. It looks like you got the physical edition for $15, and then you get the physical and the pool variant for $20. So for $5 more, you're getting a second copy of the book.
Yep.
For another $20, you get the physical and the Killbox variant. So $5 is what you're paying for variant cover, and $20 for the physical and the NSFW. Now let me ask you, recently, and I don't know how far in the past recently, but it's recent enough to say recently still, Kickstarter and Indiegogo both started doing the add-on capability. Are you doing, well, you have add-ons buttons there, so I'm guessing that yes, you do. So if somebody wanted to get, the physical and the NSFW and the Killbox one, they could throw the Killbox one on as a add-on?
Yeah, well, right now I've got the Careers Guide as add-on, but I've been working with add-ons. I just recently discovered how they work, so
yeah, they're a game
they're
changer.
actually around.
Yeah, because pretty much now you can just say, here's the book, and that's it. And then say everything else is an add-on, and you can just build your own package. You don't have to worry about all these, permutations anymore of saying, I need to have one that can get all three. I have to get one where they can get these two. I have to get one where they can get these two. You have to have a partridge in a pear tree. No, just the book, and there you go. All safe for work variants. Never seen safe for work actually spelled out, but
well,
yes,
I gotta be specific.
Yeah, absolutely. I learned that NSFW also, when I had friends email me stuff at home, and that's when I found out that NSFW also stands for not safe for wife. So you can get all the SFWs, which is the standard and the 2 variants, for $40. Or you can get all the covers. You can get all the covers, including the not safe for work one, which is $50. So what do we got down here for $75? You get the digital variants. Digital variants. What are digital variants?
Basically, they're the digital format for the covers. Basically, I've been thinking about, when I thought about doing this, I thought about, well, what if they what if they lose their copy later on in life and they still want it? They can just print it off.
Okay, so you're sending multiple PDFs?
Yeah, it's more of an experimental kind of thing than anything else.
Yeah,
I mean, one of the things that you have to do as a creator is make mistakes.
Yeah, And the creator's guide, that's a physical, or is that also digital?
It's digital.
Okay.
Yep. It's.
Yeah, I'd be questioning that one, Matt. I'm not sure that people. Well, somebody did. So what do I know?
Well,
I would be hard pressed to say, here's $75 for 4 copies of the same PDF with different covers and a creator's guide. But like you said, it's a learning process. What do you got to lose?
well, it's Kickstarter.
You
You also paid money for some guy to make potato salad.
Yeah. For $85, you get all the digital variants and the creator.
Next.
With the NSFW one. Okay. So we know what that is.
Yep.
$90, 2 variants plus the creator's guide. Now this is all physical.
Yep, that's all physical.
Okay. The creator's guide, that must be pretty thick because you've got quite a big jump there when you can get 2 variants up above for like $40.
Yeah, I plan on it to be a pretty big book because the creator's guide, for what it is, it's supposed to be a guide for other creators to do their own work inside this universe. Since I realize that this is such a very vast galaxy that
it's a writer's Bible.
Yep.
Okay. And I imagine are the ships going to be also the ship designs all going to be in that?
Yep. There's going to be ship designs, character artwork, and so on.
Okay. Harwenberg thinks he's found the right Killbox, but he's not sure. A gentleman from South Africa.
Yep, he is.
Okay. He's got to start promoting MacKinnon Chronicles more because he's not talking about it on his Twitter. Damn it, Killbox. Get out there and toe the line.
Well, surprisingly enough, he's also, despite a lot of people just laying around today, there have been a lot of people who have been commissioning him over and over and over again.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. Well, I mean, if he's been putting this stuff on Twitter, they're going to all want him sooner or later. So,
oh, definitely.
Get him while you can. $100, you get all 3 variants plus the creator's guide. So, it's still a pretty simple tier structure. I mean, it's the books and all the different ways in which you can get them.
Yeah.
And I didn't check the number when we started, so I don't know if it went up or not. I don't think it has. I think it's still
nope.
1341. Okay.
I think the next campaign I do for it, I'm going to use the add-on system to effect.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to start going there. I mean, and I know it's been around for a little while, but it's still relatively just came up. Because a lot of people still aren't quite aware of it or how to use it.
I can tell you that it takes a load off my mind, so I don't have to think about what kind of tiers to have.
Oh yeah, what tier do you want? Here's the book. Pop over here. If you bought a physical one, you get to add. But if you bought the digital one, no. Now, yeah. I will say this: I didn't see it on here. I know a lot. Well, and that's the thing. You're selling them separately. I know a lot of times if you buy the physical, some campaigns are like, if you buy the physical, we're throwing in the digital, but you're selling the digitals separately down below in multiple copy formats.
Actually, I think it's digital. I'm pretty sure I've got digitals there too. It's just that they didn't add them there.
Okay. So like when I see this one here, it's, it just says physical edition. But you're saying that you think that when you get this, you also get the digital?
Yeah, I'm going to log in and see if it's... Kickstarter is acting pretty weird for me when I was setting this up. It would add in the amount, add in its own price tag for the tier. So
yeah, well, it's just saying, okay, it was your last tier. We're going to bump it up. It's just doing the bump up by 5 kind of thing because it expects you to. It's trying to help and it's trying to be helpful and say you don't have to think about the price. Just
stop helping me.
yeah, absolutely. Stop helping me. The shipping is good though. I mean, shipping is $8 domestic. That's just about right on the nose for what it costs. I mean, when you consider the Gemini mailer, the bag, the board, the tape, the label, the gas to the post office, and the postage itself. And this is probably going to be slightly more than £1, so it hops into the second medium mail rate.
Well, the cool thing is that I found out that there's a printer about an hour away from me, so when I get printed off, it's done. I can just drive over there, pick them up.
Oh yeah, that's a big savings too. I mean, if your printer is local, less of a chance that something's going to happen to it. That's one less link out of the chain of catastrophes that can happen to your books, is getting from the printer to you in good order.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you're not doing a fulfillment service, you're going to do it yourself. Then, which I imagine you're doing domestic shipping. So,
yeah, my publisher and I went over the international shipping rates, and it's a disaster.
Oh well, we're working on that, Matt. that's kind of what is that? That's kind of our thing, is international shipping. But we're working on. We can get books to the UK for $12 now. No, I'm sorry. We got books from Australia to the US for $12. We're getting books from here to the UK for $15, which is still less than the $25 that you normally pay.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems I have with doing internationals, is that I might make just over goal, and it get sunk by the international rates, because that's also included into the amount that you raise.
Yeah, and that's why I'm seeing here that you're only shipping to the United States. So, if you want it in the UK or Australia, you're going to have to ask somebody to buy it for you. You're gonna have to be like the 16-year-old guy outside the 7-Eleven trying to get somebody to go in and buy him a beer.
Or a federal agent that's pretending to be a 16-year-old.
21 Jump Street. Yes, but yeah, you're gonna have to send $15 plus another $25. You're gonna have to spend $40 to somebody over here to get you a copy of it. I'll do it. I'll do it for you if you want. Send me $40 and I will pick up whatever the tier it is. I'll say $40. It depends on which book you get. DM me. We'll talk. I'll be your middleman. I'm your Huckleberry. So, launch date, or fulfillment date, I guess, rather, because it is launched. August, that's May, June, July. That's only 3 months away. That's in fulfillment terms, that's around the corner.
Yeah, basically, I calculated that we could have it done by July. Maybe get the printer out there by that time. Get all printed out by the middle of August, and then ship it out by then.
How much of the print file is done?
It's probably about 25% done.
Oh, so you're gonna have to kind of rush it if you're gonna hit that kind of a deadline there. I mean, I don't know how quickly your artist is doing how many pages a day or how many pages a week.
Well, he said that I've asked them to do it and asked him about that, and we're currently working on the comic. So by the time this is done, we'll pass the 50% stage, and then go off to get it all done.
Okay, so you got 14 days. So you're estimating to be 50% done in 14 days. Have another 25% done. How big is this book going to be here? I mean, how many pages do you estimate?
Well, on the campaign page, I set it at 48 pages, but I've been looking at the script lately, not too happy about the pacing, so it'll probably be bumped up a little.
Okay.
So instead of getting less than you're promised, you're getting more than you're promised.
Nobody's going to argue with that. Because I was looking in here, I didn't see the page number on there. Unless it's further down here. I do like the art style. It's very indie, yet still very space opera oriented.
In a way, Travis's art style reminds me of Leiji Matsumoto.
Yeah, I can see that. This is something I would expect to see out of some sort of an anime.
Which is something that I'm doing with this book, is that the first 5 pages are in color, and the rest of the pages will be in black and white.
You take the manga approach.
Yep.
Okay. I never figured out why they do that. First 5 pages in color, and then they just go straight to black and white. I'm like, I know it's just like, we've got you hooked into the world. Now you're going to read the rest of it. We don't have to put the color on it, but
I think budgeting.
Yeah, and they're selling 80 million copies, so they're doing something right.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember one time I was at Motor City Comic-Con selling a book. The guy who came up to read the book made a comment that I must have money if I'm doing it in black and white.
Sure. Yeah, you must have money if you're doing it in black and white.
Apparently, back in the old days, it cost more for black and white than color.
I can't imagine why that would be, because you had to, with color, back in the old days, that was what we called the 70s and 80s. It was 4-color press, and you ran it through with the black. Black was last, but you ran it through for the blues, then you ran it through for the reds, then you ran it through for the yellows, and then you put the blacks over the top of it. That was your 4-color press. If you were just doing black and white, it only had to go through one time. So it was 25% of the labor of the standard print. Now, once the 90s came around, it was all digital coloring. That's still even more work. I can't imagine why it would be cheaper to print color than black and white.
I guess black and white was the first one to use color printing, and since there were as many printers with digital, though that was more expensive. I guess that might be the explanation.
I'd be hard pressed. Maybe it meant you had money because you didn't spend it on the printing. Oh, you didn't spend money on color. You must have money now because you saved it all. But yeah, conventions. Are you going to be taking this to conventions? Are you looking around for anything that's opening up now that we can all walk around with our papers and our badges and show that we've had our shots, wear our dog tags?
Yeah, I've got a number of conventions I'm looking at going to. Possibly, I'm hoping Motor City Comic-Con will open up, but right now I think that I'm past the date where I can sign up for a table. Youmacon, I'm not very certain, but I think this would be very popular at anime convention.
Oh, I bet it would. Absolutely would. That'd be right up their alley. Now you're still going to print it in like a Western style, though, right? I mean, page 1 is page 1, and you read it left to right.
Yeah, no mistake. I know room for mess up in the printing.
Yeah. yeah, because some of our Western printers, they don't get that. Sometimes they'll screw it up. And I had that happen in college. We tried to do something. I was a newspaper editor for the school I was at, and we tried to do something interesting with a tabloid format. So, well, we're going to fold it up, and then the fold is going to be read, 90-degree angle. It'll look like the cover of a magazine. Then you open it, and then what you open up is going to be the top of page 1. And we tried to explain it to the printer, and they still screwed it up. But not terribly bad, but it was still not right. Not what we wanted it to be.
Yeah, I think that taking it to the manga style of printing, that's taking it a little too far, in my opinion. Yeah.
Now, this can be your standard comic book size. I mean, if you're looking at anime, you're not going to go more like a digest sized, are you?
It's standard comic size.
Standard comic size, yeah. I don't know anybody who has been doing like A lot of people are drawing the manga style and even the manga format, but I haven't seen anybody going, the A5 sized book and putting out like a literal manga. They're all going standard Western comic.
Well, the original format that mangas are done in is, I think, the standard magazine format at first, and then when they become the smaller size for the volume releases. I think that's how it goes. Not exactly certain.
I've never been over there to find out, so I wouldn't know. For all I know is they show up in Shonen Jump, and then they show up in their own book.
Yep.
And hey, Pops Van Zant's in the chat. Welcome, Pops. Pops is somebody you need to talk with and get on his show. Take this over to the madness and show it up to his audience as well. Because he has a lot of fans on his Facebook channel and his YouTube channel. They're the same thing, but it's a Facebook run group. If you don't know each other, Pops, Matt, Trinh, connect on Twitter and make that happen. All right. So is there anything I don't mean to keep scrolling past that one, but I'm not ashamed of it either. I'll bring it up all the time. It's not like YouTube's going to block us.
They're not going to take us down like John Malin.
No, of course not. No. She's covered. Why would they take us down?
Funny thing is that when I ran Mythics Issue 2 campaign, I had a variant cover done by Dylan Fagan, who is doing the colors for the Killbox cover. But he decided to do a bikini cover of the main character. So whenever she popped up on the stream got taken down.
For a bikini shot?
For a bikini shot.
That's stupid. So
yep.
That's I don't know what YouTube runs, but apparently there's an AI that listens and watches to everything, because there's no possible way they're hiring enough human beings to watch every stream that's out there and make moral decisions based on things. And apparently, I'm just I've only ever had one stream taken down in the middle of a show, and I appealed it and they put it back up. Of course, I lost everything that we recorded while we were taken down that went to the Facebook side of things, but it was a word thing. I was like, it was Dan Fan had O Girl as her superheroine, and her superpower was she could give men an O.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, well, the whole word was spelled out, and they took us down for that. I'm like, okay, there was no graphics, there was no discussion. And by the way, when I search on that word in your own platform, I get a lot of stuff that I wouldn't want a kid to see.
There's a lot of video. After we had a stream taken down, we did some research on what YouTube would allow, and there's a lot of nudity.
Oh yeah, there is. Tons of it. And there's probably going to be a lot more of it, because they're going to start competing with Twitch now.
Oh boy,
because Twitch just became like OnlyFans Lite.
I noticed that, and that's very concerning.
Yeah, and you know what, Harold, I have no idea whether or not Dan Fans. Thanks, you spelled it all out. Now we're going to get their YouTube thing just went away. No, I have no idea if it fulfilled or not. I was not a backer on that one. So everything I've backed has fulfilled with two exceptions. One got refunded and they relaunched it and they fulfilled then. And the other one was that Little Girl Illegal one that I backed 2 years ago. That was a disappointment. I was, disappointed in to discover that, he was that way. And, I don't know if I can say I'm disappointed for the art teams, because I'm sure they got paid, but still they don't get to see their work published. From what I understand, they were just on the lettering process, and this was going to be a done deal. But
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe someone's going to finish doing the lettering and just fulfill it to whoever still wants it. But
I don't think there's going to be that many people who want it.
Not a huge demand. And the thing is that, all he did was write it. Whiskey Paint is the artist. Whiskey Paint was what was selling it.
Oh, definitely.
And I don't know if that's going to impact Whiskey Paint's future sales, because that's his kind of style of drawing. Hopefully he won't get spattered with anything unfairly.
I hope not too. He's a talented artist.
Yeah, and he would probably. I don't know if he just he got paid his page rate and here's my pages, you can publish your comic, or if he was going to get like part of the proceeds. But either way, a lot of people unhappy.
Yeah, I used to talk to Slick on streams. So
I interviewed him on show, yeah.
So I backed him on the $5 tier just for that, and I'm pretty sure that was the censored version, from what I remember.
I had the uncensored one. I had the modest proposal, or no, the immodest proposal level. I didn't go deep into it because I didn't have really any money at the time. 3 years ago, I was living in a hotel and doing shows in the hotel pool room. If you go back in my timeline 2 years ago, you'll get the echo and you can almost smell the chlorine of all the streams. But yeah, it was that's a book we'll never see. But everything else, I'm at the point now where I've backed and backed and backed, and suddenly things are starting to show up. I'm like, oh, I didn't really expect this. I wasn't planning for books to actually show up. And they're all starting to come in at once. So it's like the 8 months of that whole 8-month backlog is all plowing in at once now. With the exception of X-Farce, which it was like, it came up, it funded, and it showed up. I was like, that's not how things are done.
No, you're supposed to wait a year.
Yeah, exactly. You're supposed to wait a year and add tiers and make people come back and buy more and
forget to even fulfill.
Yeah, forget to fulfill and then launch another one with an alternate cover of the same thing.
Or maybe get a Walmart deal.
Ooh, he went there, folks. Hey, but I got that book. I did get that book finally. And it was funny. I wanted the book when it came out. Was at that time when I wasn't funding a whole lot of stuff and I couldn't. And I thought it was a cool looking concept. I still think it's a cool concept. But somebody got the book a couple of weeks ago and they're like, yeah, my chicken book arrived. I don't even want it. I peeled the mailing label off. Who wants it? It's still in the Gemini. It was still sealed. I was like, he said $15 at yours. I'm like, here, send it. So I read it. I wish there'd have been more in it. It was basically 4 issues, and I'd read the first 2. so I wasn't really getting, too much more story. But it's all set up and it ends on a cliffhanger. It's chapter 1. Like, no, for my money, I wanted resolution to this fight, and then you can show something else is going to happen, and that's fine. But the big bad villain is still the big bad villain, and nobody's happy, and some people are dead, and everything's falling apart, and it's the end. Like, what?
You want to hear something that leads up to it?
Sure.
This first issue of MacKinnon Chronicles is a full story, beginning, middle, and end.
Well, what are you thinking, man?
I'm thinking that if I don't make gold next time around, at least the audience has a full story. Yeah,
a full story in 48 to probably 60 pages, like you said.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way it should be done. And sounds like you're gonna have a lot more full stories because you've got a universe and universal rules. This creator said, now somebody gets that creator book and they want to write a story for that universe. Do they have to go through your publisher, or what's the deal? I mean, is this open source universe?
Yeah, something like that. It's playground equipment, more or less. And if you want to tell canon stories, you're going to have to let me read it first, give it my seal of approval, and, maybe a little bit more money.
Yeah, we'll work out the deal. And then let them do the publishing on their own, or is it?
Yeah, right now that's pretty much what it is. It's similar to what I guess the biggest example would be what Microsoft did with Rooster Teeth and Red versus Blue. They got to do what they want.
They licensed it.
I don't think they ever really licensed it. It was more of, this is a cool project you're working on. We're not going to sue you. And you can continue making more seasons.
Yes. Oh, yeah. But then, you got people like Star Trek. Like, yeah, you can make all the fan films you want. We don't mind. It's fan films. We love that you're doing fan films. Holy cow, you made a lot of money. Okay, you got to stop doing that.
The funny thing is that the XNR team I was talking to CBS about everything they were doing, and it seems like CBS was setting them up for that lawsuit.
Yeah, that was like, sure you can do it. Sure you can do it. Holy, I remember that because I'd seen so many Star Trek fan films at conventions. I remember my jaw dropping on some of these because the special effects were really good, and then they had like real actors like George Takei or Takei. I'm sorry, I still say it the way that William Shatner says it. George Takei was an admiral on a ship. I'm like, they paid George Takei to do a Star Trek movie for a fan film. That's freaking cool.
It actually depends on who's doing it, because Tim Russ owns his own studio, and he used to do Star Trek fan films. He did Star Trek Renegades, which featured Walter Koenig's Chekhov.
That's the cool kind of stuff. I guess if you have a set, you can rent it out to people and say, make your Star Trek film here. We've got you're inside the ship. But yeah, I forget which one it was, but one of them, I don't know how it made money. They had to actually charge money, I guess, for people to see it. Maybe they put it on YouTube and it started monetizing like crazy.
Yeah, Star Trek XNR did the way. Star Trek XNR, I think Star Trek Renegades and Star Trek Continues, all crowdfunded.
Yeah, you're talking about the Star Trek Continues is the Vic Mignogna one, right?
Yeah.
Where he plays Kirk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one, but I didn't know if that was like a fan or licensed or fan film and they're just ignoring it kind of thing.
A fan film, and they were able to end it the way they wanted to. And I didn't really care for him known as Kirk. He was able to replicate Shatner's acting style, but he wasn't able to mimic Kirk's voice.
No one could do that. And I don't think anybody could afford to bring Shatner in to do Kirk anymore, not because his rates are that high, just because you'd have to pay him a ton of money to want to do it again.
Yeah.
I've done it. I've been there. I don't have to do that anymore.
But the thing is, he looked very happy when Brian Fuller said that he could be involved with his Star Trek. And then Brian Fuller got fired.
Yeah.
No connection.
No connection at all. All right. Well, Matt, we've passed the top of the hour here. Folks, if you want to check out this book here, looks like you can be some real cool space opera, some really good art, some nicely designed ships. I have done nothing to help you. We have no shake and bake happening tonight. Captain Cockney Spock, welcome to the show. You're here just in time for us to say goodbye. And cheers to you, man. Love your show too, by the way, folks. Captain Cockney Spock has a YouTube show that is, it's a panel show and it's just hilarious. Just sit in there. Don't worry about trying to make sense of it for the first 5 minutes because you don't know what they're talking about. Just let it go. Let it go. By the time you're into it for 30 minutes, you're good to go. Is there anything that we didn't touch on about the MacKinnon Chronicles that we should have? Something that I missed that the folks need to know? No,
but I am going to blow all of your minds right now.
Okay, do that. I'm ready.
She's 53 years old.
Okay. Hang on now. Because Matt, I'm 53 years old. I know I look 65, but
there's a lot involved, such as time dilation, medical technology.
Yeah, good genes.
Yeah. I've taken that from Larry Niven's work, such as the main character of Ringworld, Louis Wu, is 200 years old.
Okay, that's true. That's true. She's an old person. And of course, you got to keep track of what the Solarian year is when you're out in deep space, because this planet went around the sun 40 times just yesterday.
Yep.
I was a year old before I drew my first breath. We spinning. All right, Matt, appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you very much for bringing the MacKinnon Chronicles over here. Glad to see that it's already funded. Hope that you pull in more, because I want to make sure that you got a comfortable margin to work with and get this printed and distributed. No one wants to just get by and just get printed. You want to be successful. You 33% over goal, 14 days to go. I would estimate 2,000 at least, and you keep it up, the rest of them will fund faster and fund higher. So
if it helps, I gained 5 followers for the campaign.
Very cool. Captain Cockney Spock is asking, did someone say time travel? Is there time travel? The time dilation. Remember the Doctor Who episode where Bill goes to the far end of the ship that's orbiting the black hole, and the Doctor stays at the one end, and she's gone for like 5 minutes, but it's like her entire life. That's time dilation. Yeah, no travel involved. The Doctor spent 30 seconds talking to the captain of the ship before he realized, oh my God, she's nearly dead, and rushed down to get her. So yeah, no travel. Although technically, folding space is kind of a form of time travel, depending how you look at it. So I've read lots of books on time travel, and particularly the one where they talked about running a laser through a certain type of gas. They were able to like freeze the light beam in the middle of the gas, and it just kind of quit. And they're like, that's frozen time travel. The information in the light beam has stopped moving. There's no motion. I'm like, that doesn't count. But apparently they say it does. So with that, we are going to check on out of here. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for popping in. We don't have a show unless you come up and watch it. And as always,